Level 1. The soft military dictatorship. The military controls the government but allows some civilian leader to give the illusion of democracy. The generals hold the real power, deciding policies and national security. Laws exist but can be ignored at any time if the military sees a threat. Courts are not independent and often serve military interests. Citizens have limited rights. They can work and travel, but speaking against the military can result in arrest or assassination. Example: Egypt. The military has dominated politics for decades, overthrowing elected leaders through coup and ruling behind the scenes. Protests are met with brutal crackdowns, with thousands arrested, tortured, or disappearing without a trace. Level 2. The electoral dictatorship. The leader holds absolute control over elections, ensuring they always win. Laws exist, but they only serve to keep the ruling party in power. People technically have rights like freedom of speech and protest, but exercising them can result in intimidation, arrest, or death. Opposition parties exist but are powerless, serving only to give an illusion of democracy. Example: Russia, where Vladimir Putin has ruled for over 2 decades, changing laws to ensure his power, silencing critics and sending them to jail or assassination, and ensuring every election result is an overwhelming victory. Level 3. The one-party dictatorship. The ruling party has complete political control. No opposition is allowed. The leader decides policy, the economy, and foreign relations without challenge. The government controls all major institutions, from education to the police force, ensuring no rivals can ever emerge. Citizens can work, go to school, and live normal lives, but they have no political freedom and risk severe punishment for criticizing the government. Example: China, where the Communist Party has held power since 1949, monitoring citizens through mass surveillance, censoring the internet, and imprisoning millions in labor camps under the pretense of re-education. Level 4. The Populous dictatorship. It starts with promises of justice, equality, and better life for everyone. Then, little by little, the leader takes more power, controls the media, and silences opposition. Corruption spreads as the leader replaces officials with loyalists. State propaganda convinces people that only the leader can save the country. Then, economic collapse and food shortage begin, but the government blames enemies, foreign powers, the elite, or internal traitors. Example: Venezuela, where Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro took control by claiming to fight for the poor, only to destroy the economy, leading to hyperinflation, starvation, and thousands of political prisoners tortured or executed for speaking out. Level 5. Theocratic dictatorship. Religious leaders control the government, using faith as justification for their rule. The leader has near divine authority, able to change laws based on religious doctrine. Government enforces strict moral codes, often punishing minor infractions with public humiliation, whipping, or execution. Women and minorities have fewer rights, and any challenge to religious law is met with extreme violence. Example: Iran, where the supreme leader holds ultimate power over both politics and religion, overseeing morality police who imprison women for not wearing the hijab properly, and where protests are met with mass execution. Level 6. The hard military dictatorship. The leader is a general or warlord who rules with brute force. The military has unchecked power to kill, imprison, or exile anyone seen as a threat. The government runs like an army, strict, merciless, and focused on control. Civilians have no influence on politics, and entire communities can be wiped out if they are suspected of rebellion. Example: Argentina from 1976 to 1983, where the military launched a dirty war, abducting and torturing tens of thousands of suspected dissidents, many of whom were drugged and thrown from planes into the ocean while still alive. Level 7. The modern totalitarian state. The leader has total control over the government, the economy, and personal lives. Every move is watched, and the population is forced to praise the regime or risk punishment. Propaganda is everywhere, rewriting history to glorify the leader. There are no real rights. People can be arrested, tortured, or executed at any time without explanation. The goal is not just obedience, but absolute loyalty. Example: North Korea, where Kim Jong-un government forced citizens to worship him like a god. He starves entire regions to keep them weak, and punishes entire families for the crime of one person by sending them to die in labor camps. Level 8. The political terror state. The leader sees enemy everywhere and uses mass surveillance, secret police, and torture to maintain control. People can be arrested for the smallest suspicion and are often never seen again. The government keeps record of every citizen, deciding their fate based on loyalty. Entire neighborhoods are emptied overnight, with thousands disappearing into prison camps or execution sites. Example: Stalin's USSR, where millions were sent to forced labor camp in Siberia, while secret police carried out mass execution of political prisoners. Level 9. The genocidal dictatorship. The leader has ultimate power and orders extermination of entire groups of people. The government enforces mass killings using soldiers, police, and death squads. The regime turns ordinary people into executioners, forcing them to betray their neighbor or face death themselves. Victims are not just shot, they are buried alive or used for medical experiments. Example: Nazi Germany, where Hitler's government systematically murdered millions of Jews and other minorities, sending them to gas chambers and mass graves while using the remains for industrial production. Level 10. The absolute nightmare. The leader has lost all sense of reality and destroyed their own country. Death is everywhere. People are starved, beaten, or tortured for no reason. The government no longer functions. It exists only to kill. Civilians are forced to murder each other for food. The leader's paranoia leads to mass purges, where even loyal followers are executed. The population has no right at all. Anyone can be killed at any moment in the most brutal way imaginable. Example, Cambodia under Pol Pot, where the Khmer Rouge emptied cities, forced people into labor camps, and executed millions, sometimes by smashing children's heads against trees to save bullets. Intellectuals, teachers, and even people who wore glasses were slaughtered, as the regime sought to create a society with no education or history.